Hello, welcome back to this class. Today I'm going to be starting another series which has been systematized. And this series, part of it will be on TikTok. The fuller version will be on my YouTube channel and on Facebook. So if you want to see the fuller version, you'll have to follow me on YouTube and Facebook. So welcome to the class. Today, I'm systematizing everything I've been saying about Yoruba history so that it can be easy for people to follow. Before I have been looking at here and there to debunk the revisions of history that our people from Benin have been doing. But here I'm going to be concentrating on building a chronological narrative for who Oduduwa was in Yoruba history and who the Yorubas are, who they were and who they are, where they came from. And I'm going to be piecing together so many things into this series. It is from this series that the book on Oduduwa will come out. The one on Omriyan will come out, and as many series as can come out and can be documented. So I want to systematize it. So this is the beginning. Now, the fuller video of this will be on YouTube and maybe Facebook, because I think Facebook is not more than 15 minutes. So let's start with who Oduduwa was. Who is Oduduwa, or who was Oduduwa? When you read Yoruba history, two things will stand out in describing who Oduduwa was. And it is one of the confusions that a lot of people who read Yoruba history have. And because today's generation are not ready for a scholarly debate, or they are not ready for intelligent debate, they just want to prove supremacy, or they want to mock people, because we are in the age of social media where people mock other groups. They just muddle up a lot of information. Yes. People will think that things are getting better in the world. Things are not getting better. We are more given to primordial sentiments like in the past. The age of social media has really brought this nonsense out, where people are given to primordial sentiment, where people curse their friends, curse other people they don't know with even, something as bad as death on the social media. I have started deleting comments of some of these Edo people because they don't engage. They either curse with death or curse with this or that. I've deleted a comment this morning that said that he will buy, because it's not me. Nobody can kill me because I'm telling you about history. I'm debunking your lies, because I am very sure my people don't threaten you with death. They don't. So, because of that, there are two things that stand out in the history of Yoruba, in the oral tradition about Oduduwa. The fact that Oduduwa is tied to the creation myth of the Yoruba people, how the Yoruba people originated. Oduduwa is also tied to being the personage that unified the communities of Ife. Now, when you read these narratives, now, if you are a true historian, you will be able to construct, your own views from what you have read. But because a lot of those who want to talk on the social media are not enlightened, they are not educated, they are not intelligent enough, they don't even have the methodology to do that. They will come on the social media and be saying all manner of things. I have said it before that there are no indigenous people on earth without their, myths of origin. And most often, any hero in history, or any hero who did great whatever in history, maybe to unify his people or to save his people, myths are always built around them. Yes, myths are always built around them. So that is what has happened with the Oduduwa story. Some people have said that maybe Oduduwa did not even live as a person. That is why his person is so elusive in Yoruba history. But that is not true. Yes, it's not true. He actually lived. He actually lived. He lived, but these are two things that come out to me in reading the Ife story. And when you look at what is in the Oduduwa about Oduduwa, when you read, if you are conversant with what the Oduduwa says about Oduduwa, you will realize that he actually lived. All those ancestors that are mentioned in Ife actually lived. What now happens is that because of the prowess they showed when they lived, a lot of myths and legends are built around them. So when the Yoruba wants to talk about their creation story, they will infuse Oduduwa into it. They will infuse Obatala into it. These are great ancestors of the Yorubas. So in the myth of origin, for instance, the British have their own myths of origin about King Arthur of Camelot. When you read their history, you will realize that truly, it's possible that King Arthur lived. But a lot of myths have been built around his prowess and many other things that he did. He lived before the Romans came to conquer them or so. So, same goes for Oduduwa. So it is funny when people come around and start talking as if Yorubas are the only ones with myths. Every ethnic group in Nigeria has their myth. And in fact, some other people's myths are very funny. Very, very funny. Yes. Funnier than the Yoruba myths. Yes. So let's look at the myth of creation of the Yorubas. Now, the Yorubas have this myth of creation that when God wanted to create the world, that the world was a deluge. That the world was, an expanse of water. Now, this resonates of the creation story in the Bible, where the Bible says that, the world was without form and void. There was large expanse of water, and God spoke, "Let there be light," and there was light. Then he called out the dry land. But in Yoruba cosmology, and in many other creation myths around the world, you would see that some orishas were sent. Now, according to Yoruba creation story, it was Obatala that was first sent. So, it was sent with a mollusk and a winged animal. Now, and that mollusk, the shell of the mollusk, had sand in it. And he was given instructions by Olodumare, the supreme deity, the Olorun, that when he got to the earth, he should pour that sand and allow the winged animal to scatter the sand. Actually, that is where the name Ile-Ife originated. Ile-Ife. So, that was what happened. So when Obatala was coming, it is said that he got drunk on the way. Only God knows whether they drink alcohol in Ajule Orun. Nobody knows that. Whether they drink alcohol in Ajule Orun. Because some other people's myth said that their own king was just hearing a bird saying, "Oh yeah, take this shell, take this snake shell." I've talked about that myth before. So, Obatala got drunk, and when Olorun was expecting Obatala to have created the earth and be back, he didn't come back. So Olorun looked at it and discovered that Obatala was drunk, so sent Oduduwa. So as Oduduwa was going on the way, he met Obatala where he was having a nap. He collected the mollusk shell with the sand and the winged animal, and he proceeded to the earth. And when he got to the earth, he met large expanse of water. So where he touched on, he poured sand and allowed the winged animal to scatter it. Now, it is said in that myth that he came with chain from heaven. That is why they call him Atewonro. Ewon in Yoruba means chain. Atewonro. That's the meaning of that Oriki of Oduduwa. Atewonro. Now, that place he created, where the winged animal scattered, is called Ife. And it is called Ife Oye. Ife Odaye, rather. Ife Odaye. Ife Odaye. That was the beginning of Ife Odaye. It is said that all the deities, if not most of the deities, if not all, the deities of Yoruba land were in that Ife Odaye. So, and that after a long period of time that they have existed in that Ife Odaye, they had children, they gave birth, they married, that a deluge came and destroyed that Ife Odaye. Now, when the Greeks will talk about that Ife, they will say it was the lost Atlantis. I don't know if you have heard of that in historical and archaeological literature, scientific literature. They talk about Atlantis. And in the literature, Ife, the Europeans who came, feel that Ife Odaye was that Atlantis that was lost. Well, I'm talking about Oduduwa, so I'm not going to go into that. The day I will go into that will be on the pre-Oduduwa. And I want to talk about the pre-Oduduwa, the human Oduduwa. Now, in that Ife Odaye, there were a lot of Yoruba deities, according to Ife's story. Now, we see another episode, because after the flood, the deluge, there was also Ife Oyelagbo, that they call Ife Oyelagbo, that those who survived the deluge lived in. Now, the Ife Oyelagbo were in communities, the Elu communities. That Ife Oyelagbo is the one that is referred to as Ugbomokun. Ugbomokun. Tabi Ikedu. But most prominent in the literature is what is called Ugbomokun. Ugbomokun. Yes, that is what the name prominent in the literature. Now, the inhabitants of Ife Oyelagbo or Ugbomokun were in communities, different communities, and they had their kings. In fact, it is said that they had 96 kings in that dynasty. 96 kings in that dynasty. It is this Ife Oyelagbo, because Oranfe Odilena was part of Ife Odaye. He was part of the deity that I think survived, and is the forefather of the people of Ugbomokun, the owner of Okeora, from where Oduduwa, the human being, originated from. Now, that Okeora has two descriptions. Some people said that the Okeora is still in Ekiti State today, while some people said it's along the way around Atakumosa. How many people, if you have gone through Ife, you are coming from Ibadan, you're going through Ife to Akure, you meet Ilesha on the way. Now, Atakumosa, local government, is part of Ilesha. Now, it's along that road that Okeora is, situated. Now, in Ife Oyelagbo, there were about 13 to 16 Elus communities that had different kings, their own kings. That's why today when you get to Ile-Ife, each community of Ife has their own king. Oni is a king over, that's why they call him King of Kings. You have the Obawiri, Oba Lesu. There are so many Obas in Ile-Ife of those communities, because then those communities were existing as sovereign community on their own with their kings. Oba Atala was ruling one of those communities of Ugbomokun. These Ugbo people, and even we are Ekiti people and all those other people, were the descendants of Oranfe Onilena, of which Obamaki of Sangangan was the most prominent, the one who fathered the Olugbo of Ilaje. Now, they were in different Elus. Now, the reason why the Olugbo is not correct in his history is because, is he saying that he was a prominent among the 13 to 16 Elus in Ife? Because there were other Elus, apart from his own house of, the house of Oranfe. Now, the Okeora community was a hilly community, different from the Elus that were in the valley of Ife. The Elus were in the valley, and that valley was the most fertile of the Elus, of the communities. Now, Oduduwa was born in Okeora to Abure. His father's name, according to Oduduwa, is called Abure. I think the mother is the one that is called Obiri. I'm going to clarify this in the issue. That's why they call him Oduduwa Omo Abure. So, there's no how Oduduwa would have been a son of Owodo, Ogisowodo. Oduduwa was Omo Abure, according to the Oduduwa, born in Okeora, and it is one of the reasons why any Oni Tobaje must go to that forest where Okeora was to offer sacrifices. Now, what I feel is that the Okeora that is in Ekiti today was part of the hilly Okeora in that Atakumosa. Because we realize that the Ekiti and the Jesha people are of the same stock. And it is from their dialect that the Yoruba language diverged from Igbo, Edo, and Igala. It is from their dialect. And so, Oduduwa was from that part of Yoruba land. Oduduwa was not from Mecca. Archaeological evidence proves that Oduduwa couldn't have come from Mecca. And Oduduwa couldn't have come from Benin, because there were people living in Yoruba. There were communities in Yoruba land before the founding, before Ugbomoku. There were communities existing. Archaeology has proven it. Part of that community is Isharu. These communities were existing as far back as the Paleolithic age. The Paleolithic age is the Stone Age. So the Yoruba people had been existing from the Paleolithic age, according to the archaeological evidence found at Isharu, close to Ondo State. Obaile was already existing in Yoruba land. And it has been proven that that skull that was found was the progenitor of many of these people. So, it is not possible that Oduduwa came from somewhere else, except, because the east of Ife is not just Benin. The east of Ife could be Ekiti. The east of Ife, Atakumosa, is the east of Ife. So, Okeora, according to the Odufa, which we should believe more on Yoruba history, Oduduwa Omo Abure was born in Okeora during the time of Ife Oyelagbo. In my subsequent video, I am going to be building on this. I'll be talking about how he came to unify all the Elus in Ife. Bye.